Hi, my name is Emily Myatt from the Pet Stylist Academy. We're going to talk you through the tools and equipment and the processes for different coat types. The coat type we're discussing now is the double coat. There are many different types of what we class double coats. Examples of these vary from short and dense to long and kind of woolly. Think of breeds you may already know like Samoyeds, Caishons, Chow Chows, and other Malamute, Husky Nordic breeds. They all have a long double coat. Short double coats are dogs like Labradors, Rottweilers, cattle dogs. Even a pug can be classed as a short double coat. And the tools required for these are slightly different to the tools required for a long double coat. So let's run through some of those. Each of the breeds, it's usually recommended that you start out with a brush. Now we have one for long coated breeds and we have one for the shorter coats. Both of these slicker brushes are firm bristle brushes. Then we move on to the tools that help us remove the loose dead undercoat. We have an Undercoat Rake. Now this just has short fine teeth that will help pull and remove the loose coat, mostly in your shorter haired dogs. In your longer haired varieties, we can use a Coat King on some of these breeds. These do have cutting edge, so you do need to be careful of how you use these tools, and these are only used underneath, close up to the skin, taking the undercoat away. The de-shedding tool, otherwise known as a Firminator by brand, has the shortest of all of the teeth in any tool. And this is usually used right at the end of the process. So it's meant to pick up only the very, very fine hair after the bulk has been removed. Another tool commonly used for the areas that might be matted or very, very thick that need to be thinned out is the mat breaker tool. Again, it has short, sharp teeth, so you do need to be careful how you use it. But for areas that commonly get knotty, like behind the ears or in between the hind legs, this is a tool that can remove the bulk more safely. The finishing tool for every groom is your comb. Now we use for double coats a combination of a medium and a fine, and the majority of the dog we're going through with the widest part of the comb, just to ensure that the comb slips through nice and smoothly. If you have one of each of these tools in your grooming kit, you can competently groom any one of those double coated breeds. So with our double coated border collie here, before we begin the grooming process, we need to assess the dog's general condition. Now we're looking for any lumps or bumps, any skin issues, things like overgrown toenails or things in or behind their ears. So we always go over the dog thoroughly and look for anything that might become a problem during the course of the groom. Up you get, good boy. And we're going to check things like the weight of the dog, the sex of the dog, identify any areas that are going to need some extra attention during the groom. And this guy definitely has a lot of excess undercoat that needs to be removed. Alrighty, so we're going to wash our double coated dog. And this border collie has got a lot of undercoat. He is super, super thick, and he's got a ton of dead coat, like bucket loads of it that needs to come out. So a lot of people would ask, well, why don't you groom all that out first? Well, you can, but if you waste all that time brushing the coat out before you start. You've just got all this dirty hair that's blowing around that is not really healthy for the groomer. And it's a lot easier to actually remove the undercoat by washing the coat first. So let's get the dog completely saturated. All right, start at the rear, work your way up the dog. Don't worry about the head at this early stage. We're just gonna get everything wet bar that. All right, come on, up you come. Let's go, we're gonna turn you around. That's it, good kid. Now we always recommend that you have your dog tied into the tub. We never know when they'll decide that it's time to escape. And just make sure that your dog is thoroughly wet all over, including up in the nether regions. All right, so this dog's getting washed with a combination of different shampoos. On the body of the dog for the first wash, all the brown parts of the dog, we're actually just using a general purpose shampoo. The first wash is just, let's get the dog clean. So all of those brown areas, general purpose shampoo. And lots of it, don't be shy. Then on all the white areas of the coat, we're using our whitening shampoo. So on this guy, so on your Samoyeds, Malamutes, Huskies, any of those dogs that have a lot of white with a black top coat, whitening shampoo is awesome when you're doing their first wash. It really does work well on getting rid of the grey in their coat and the dirt. It's just my preference, but it really brings a special shine to their hair. All right, so as I said, first shampoo, lots, don't be shy. Now our shampoo, we buy it in a concentrate and we dilute it down 10:1. So the easiest way of shampooing your dog, or getting the shampoo into your dog's coat, is to actually dilute the shampoo into something like a tomato sauce bottle, and then you can apply it wherever you need it. Now I'm really working this lather in and using my fingertips kind of like, in a scrubbing brush kind of, and massaging it really well. Most dogs really like having a good massage. You can't be too gentle because you really need to work on breaking the coat up into chunks, and we want to try and really get that dead undercoat pulled apart into pieces and squeaky clean. So we need a little bit of extra shampoo back here in the nether regions. That's it. A lot of border collies don't like their bums being touched. And yeah, it's just a matter of getting them really, really well lathered up. All right, so when we've got the whole dog done, we're going to get to the head. Now we need to wet the dog's face, but we want to make sure we don't get water up the nose. So I'm going to hold his nose up and just lightly push that across his face and around the sides. Now if you hold the heads up, they don't tend to object too much, because think about when a dog swims, they swim with their nose up, and if you can hold their nose up, the water will drain away. Now you want to make sure that you're not putting soap near their eyes, but you do still need to wash their faces and their heads really thoroughly. Good dog. So these guys, a lot of your double coated dogs you'll have sticking up ears. So German Shepherds and the like. So it is really careful when you're going around their ears that you don't get water down in them. So how do you prevent that from happening? Well, you could put cotton wool in their ears if you're a little bit concerned. If you just make sure that when you wash your dog's ears, you kind of turn them and fold them outwards. Okay, so when you're rinsing them too, they tend to fold their ears back along the outside of their head. But the trick is, then the minute you finish washing the face, you rinse it straight away. So the same method as we did before, holding the nose up, rinsing the eyes, and then working backwards. Now, if you can, hold your dog's hose up like that, the water will drain away. Yep. And let them shake. If they need to shake, they need to shake. Because, you know, if a little bit of water did accidentally run down into their airway, then that's how they get it out. So let the dog shake if it has to. You just probably need to wear an apron when you're washing your dog. All right, so we're going to make sure we rinse this shampoo as best we can before we apply the shampoo for a second time. Now, if you don't wash your dog twice, you are not going to get a good result at the end. So it's really important that you apply a second shampoo. And there is a couple of de-shedding shampoos on the market, which is what we would recommend, because what a de-shedding shampoo actually does is it's mostly full of extra moisturizers and things that will help actually coat the hair shaft and soften it up and relax the follicles, which helps with getting the dead loose hair out. So we want all the dead undercoat that's stuck in this dog to really blow off the dog when we blow dry it, or brush out more easily. And it does come out a lot more easily when it's squeaky clean. When the coat's dirty, it traps the dirt and it traps the oils, and it makes it a lot harder and a lot tougher, and tougher on the dog as well, to get that dead hair out. So by washing the dog first, come around buddy, good boy, that's it, turn around, whoopsie, don't fall over, that's it, good dog. Yeah, by washing the dog and getting the hair squeaky clean before you start, it's actually less time consuming, and then we're not over brushing the dog, causing friction to the skin. So even a Samoyed that looks like it hasn't had a bath or a blow dry in a year can come up tremendously, and undercoat will blow out really easily if the dog has had a thorough bath. And when I say thorough, squeaky clean. So if you've washed your dog twice and you still feel like it's not clean enough, do it again. And try to do your last shampoo using a de-shedding product. There's lots of different de-shedding products on the market. Good boy. All right, so I've washed my dog really well. Now I'm using our Firminator de-shedding shampoo. It smells like pina colada. We love the smell of it. Dogs do too. And second wash, you don't need to be as generous as you were with the first wash. We're spreading it everywhere. Now, if you see an area that you think could do with a little bit more whitening, then by all means, put a little bit of more whitening on there as well. So you can mix some shampoos together, depends on the brand. So it's, you know, when you know your products and you know them well, and everything we're using is really organic, and so it's nice and gentle on both the groomer and the dog. And make sure you really get it in, work it thoroughly. Bit of a workout. Okay, but it's worth it in the end. All right, come here, sport. Let's turn you around. That's it. Good kid. Now, when you look at what I started with, as in shampoo volume, using this method, I haven't really used a lot of shampoo. In fact, this is a 1 litre bottle with 100 mils of shampoo because it's diluted 10:1. So it's a fairly economical way of washing dogs. Makes your shampoo last a lot longer. You're a good boy. Well, you're gonna smell beautiful after this, aren't you? Okay. So again, we started with the face, but we rinse the face first. And we really give it a good scrub. All right. Woof. How's that, buddy? Is that fun? Alrighty. Ready, set, nose up. Eyes first. Alrighty. Good lad. Oh, you're going to look and smell amazing when you're done. That's it. Shake it out. Now, double coats, because they are so thick, they can take a while to rinse out. So the best technique for getting that shampoo out from the roots, so you don't want to have any shampoo sitting on the dog's skin, is to really push the nozzle of your hose all the way in. So I'm really making sure that any product is pushed away and out towards the ends of the coat. So that's the trick. Don't stand and bounce water off the dog like this, because you'll see half the water's just wasted. It's watered, it's just bouncing off. So make sure that you're efficient, you're not wasting water, and you're getting the shampoo rinsed out thoroughly. Whatever type of hose or shower nozzle you use, make sure when you're rinsing that you push it hard all the way into the skin. Hey buddy, move up. Okay, on these back pants areas, you do need to really give the coat a good squeeze just to help encourage that soap to come out of the coat. And what we want is squeaky clean. So you really should literally go, and it should squeak in your fingertips. Come on, buddy. Come on, sweetie. Come on. There you go. Good lad. All right. We're almost done. So when you're finished rinsing, and all your soap is gone, and if you're doing a big dog, you're going to get wet doing this. Then we go to the blow drying part. Alrighty. Now the next part's going to be pretty messy, and that's okay. You get used to that if you own one of these dogs, or if you want to groom one of these dogs. So you may want to think about wearing a face mask. You may want to wear some eye goggles, because there is going to be a lot of hair flying around. All right, and come on, buddy, step up. Good boy. Alrighty, so I think we're nearly done. Now, a bath of a dog this size, if you can be efficient and just scrub really well, shouldn't take much more than about 10 or 15 minutes. But you have to have a cooperative dog. Alright, so all our soap is gone. Good boy. Alright, when you're towel drying, very important, nose, eyes, mouth first. Okay, a lot of these guys aren't real fond of the high velocity dryer, especially when it comes to around their face and their head. So if you can dry the face and the head and around the ears really thoroughly with the towel, that just makes your job easier. And then we don't have to use that dryer so close to the dog's head, especially if you won't tolerate it. Some dogs are great and they love it. Border collies, sometimes they like to eat the air, don't they? Okay, all right. So we're going to towel dry the dog and then move it through to the drying area. You want to shake now? Yay! Good, that's what we were hoping for. Okay, so we're up to the high velocity drying part, which is best done with 2 high velocity dryers at the same time. So as we did before, good boy, we're going to use a hoodie just to save the dog being frightened by the noise, just in case. And up you get, buddy. All right, whoop, there you go, good lad. EMFs for me as well. And what we're going to be doing is, with 2 velocity dryers at the same time, I'm going to be applying one dryer quite close to the dog's skin, if not almost touching. And with the second dryer, I'm going to hold the second dryer at quite a distance away, almost at arm's length. So the purpose of this is because then the dryer closest to the dog is literally blowing the dead loose coat away from the animal, and the second dryer is holding the long coat and splaying it out nice and flat. And that process makes the drying process, it's all right buddy, really quick, and it also helps you keep an eye on the skin as you're working through the coat, as well as minimizing whip knots. All right, so as you can see quite quickly, and I'm only just doing a small portion of the dog so you can see the process and understand how that works, you should hopefully have been able to see how easily, as the coat dries, it magically pops off the dog. So the real trick to doing a double coat and doing it well is making sure that they're squeaky clean. It's all right, buddy. We'll take your hoodie off now for a bit. And then making sure that when you dry, see now this part of the dog is basically completely dry. What's left here is just a quick brush, and all of this area of the dog is now really completely done. When we get down to the thicker parts, we'll use different kinds of tools to pick up the dead undercoat that may not have just blown away. But as you can see, in just a short space of time, we've completely blown all the dead coat off this area alone. So we'll be back with the next stage in just a minute. So after we've used the high velocity dryer and gotten the dog basically 95% dry and blowing nearly all of that dead undercoat out, we're up to the finishing part of the process. And the finishing part of the process entails going through the whole dog with a comb. So making sure that as you bring the comb through, it goes through quite easily with little or no resistance. Now where you find areas of coat that the comb gets a little stuck and it's a little bit hard to get through, that's when we will change to our slicker brush again and brush the coat further, and then use a coat rake. So when using a coat rake, it's important that you hold the skin and that you want to then bring the tool down and through the coat. Now by doing this, you can see that I'm raking out a little more of the undercoat. So in that area there where the comb wouldn't go through easily, we want to thin out a bit more undercoat. So you can see there that wool. You just need to be careful of how heavy-handed you are with that tool. Okay, so now we have the comb sliding and gliding through that area easily. So you want to be thorough and go through the whole dog, and anywhere you feel that there's any resistance in the comb at all, go back to your coat rake, give that area a little rake with the coat rake, making sure you're holding the dog. Come on, sweetie, just walk up. Good boy. And then go back and check with the comb. Now there's a few spots back here where we've still got some dead undercoat in the tail, and we'll just use the brush a little more, use the coat rake again, thin it out, and then once more go over with the comb and make sure our comb goes through nice and smooth. So let's have a look along the top line of this dog. Good dog. We want the comb to go right through easily. Little to no resistance. There needs to be a little bit of a drag on the coat, but not a pull. So with this being done so that the comb can go nicely and smoothly through the dog, the last thing we might do as a finish up is a light mist of a spray or detangler, and that just again, it adds a little bit of shine and a little bit of moisture back to the ends of the coat so that all of that lies down nice and smooth. And anywhere I feel a snag, so essentially here I can almost hang the comb in that part of the dog, okay, because there's an area where we need to brush and comb some more. So give it a bit of a brush. Brush it first because that helps break up and separate any of the dead loose coat that might be hanging. Use our coat rake again. Okay, just thin that little area out just a smidge more. You don't want to thin it all out, you just want to make sure that there's enough that the comb can slide easily through the dog. Just like that. So there's a few spots on this guy that still needs a little bit of work, which didn't blow out all by itself. You can see how much undercoat this dog had, and now we can run a comb smoothly through all of that part of the dog. Beautiful, beautiful. One double coat, groomed completely through. So hopefully now you've all just learnt how to wash, dry and groom your coat type correctly, and all about the different features, tools and brushes and techniques. To learn more techniques on how to groom your dog, for example, the clipping and scissoring, we recommend that you go to a qualified groomer instructor and perhaps do a DIY workshop or a hands-on class to get further education.